is Alternative Facts Chicago. We are back once again. This is B.Hun here, and happy 4th of July to everyone. I hope that you're enjoying it with your family, your friends, you're being safe, you're having a great time, getting some rest and relaxation. So with that being said, Brittany and I decided to take a special week, take some time off, enjoy the time. I know she's traveling. I'm traveling this week as well. But what we wanted to do is switch things up just a little bit. So we love you, B-Chan. She couldn't make it to the episode today. So what we actually did, we have a special interview that I will introduce this person in a moment. I'm very proud to have him on the show today. This is huge for the show, huge for me. Been a big fan of this guy for a long time throughout his career. So we'll introduce him here just in a little bit. Quickly, let's plug all social media for Alternative Facts Chicago. Our Twitter is, AFAC Chicago. My Twitter is B.Hun1984. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alternative Facts Chicago. Please subscribe and leave a review to our iTunes as well at Alternative Facts Chicago. We noticed that reviews are going up. The ratings are going up. Please, it's very important for our show. So we thank you for doing that as well. You can also email us at alternativefactschicago@gmail.com. We have introduced a brand new sponsor that we'll introduce on the very next episode. So be on the lookout for that too as well. So we got a lot going on, and make sure you send us questions for our segment, Show B and B Your Business. So enough for the social media plug. You can always know where to find us. We're always there. B-Chan, we miss you, but we got a lot of business to take care of today. First off, quick reminder, we are hosting a podcast panel session at Nova. This is a monumental event for us on July 17th at 9:30 p.m. at Moonlight Studios. Nova is a great event. They're expanding to 3 days this year. And we are going to be moderating and hosting a podcast panel session with 2 other great podcasts. So we need the entire Chicago podcast community to come out and see us. It's a great networking event. We're going to have a lot of questions. It's going to be fan interactive, and we want your opinions on the state and industry of podcasting in Chicago and nationally. So we'll have more information on that next week, and be on the lookout for that. But definitely come out, and it'll be a great time on July 17th. Now I think we got all our announcements, plugs out of the way. I think it's important that we get to our special guest for today. So I followed this guy for a long time. Everyone knows me. Obviously, this Alternative Facts Chicago. Originally, I'm from Detroit, from the D. Always give me my first love. And anyone I get a chance to meet or speak with or talk to from Detroit is good with me. So when we had the opportunity to have this man on the show, I was like, absolutely, 100%. We have to make this happen. So Alternative Facts Chicago fans, I am proud to have this guy on the show. He is a former Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award winner, a college basketball legend, went to U of Mercy, the all-time leading scorer, and I know he's doing this thing in media now. He's going to be the next media man to blow. You heard it here first on Alternative Facts Chicago. So we want to be here at the very beginning because this guy is about to go to the top. So Alternative Facts Chicago, welcome Rashad Phillips to the show. How you doing today, sir?
Thank you so much, Brian. That was a fantastic introduction. Thank you.
Amazing. How are you, sir?
I'm great today, man. I'm doing well.
We really appreciate you being on the show. This is huge for us. We've had a lot of growth in the past year, and we see where you're headed. And like I said, you being from Detroit as well, this is great for you being on the show, so we really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So right now, you're living in Florida, right? You're not in Detroit currently.
Yeah, I live in Orlando, Florida now.
It's got to be real hot down there this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, Florida, the weather is always good here. It's quite warm, but it's the summertime, so yeah, it's pretty humid.
Well, in Chicago this weekend, the heat index is around 107 degrees. It's real hot, and I know I've been in Florida a lot, and I don't like it. And we complain about winter all the time in Chicago, and now it's 100 plus degrees, and we're complaining about that. So we're never satisfied either way.
True Midwesterners for you.
Never happy, man, but it's all good. We'll roll with it. So quickly, let's get into your media career. I think we should just jump right into it.
Yeah.
And I know you got a lot of things going on, and we saw you. I know I saw you on The Herd with Colin Cowherd a couple of weeks ago. You were also on Chris Broussard's show.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you? Talk about that.
It was a fantastic experience. Anytime you get a chance to share the stage and get on a platform with individuals such as Chris Broussard and Colin Cowherd, it's an honor to exchange dialogue with guys of that stature. So it was a great experience. I felt right at home being amongst those guys, talking about the game that I passionately love, basketball, obviously, and sports in general. And just to be on that platform in front of that many eyes and that many listeners, it was just a monumental experience for me.
So you weren't nervous with all the lights and cameras around you?
No.
At all?
Nah, I didn't even. That doesn't bother me one bit.
That means you fit right in there.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was. I felt at home. I mean, it's just like second nature for me, man. It's like when I go on a basketball court, no matter if I'm playing in front of one person, the gym's empty or it's 20,000 people. I don't get any nervous. I don't get any of those type of feelings inside. So I just go out and perform and do what I do and do what I love.
Awesome. And it came off genuine. It came off natural. I watched the segments and like you said, you definitely seem to fit right in. So I definitely think you have a future in this.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Do you have any, media influences, people you look up to get advice, or are you kind of just jumping in and rolling with it and see what happens?
Well, I kind of look at the guys like a Rob Parker, the Chris Broussards and the Colin Cowherds and, Chris Webber, guys, Steve Smith, guys like that. I look at former athletes and guys that just understand the game as a whole.
Right.
So you always want to try to learn and see how they navigate that type of world. So obviously I've been paying a lot of attention to guys like that, and also just relying on my own instincts and my own craft. It's something that I've been doing since I was a kid. So this is nothing new to me. But you never can stop learning. You always want to continue to give yourself more knowledge each and every day. So on that platform, I've learned a lot from guys like that.
And I can tell, and we're going to talk about the NBA draft a little bit later, and you made a few predictions that were 100% spot on. And like you said, with just your natural instincts, these things happen. So you seem to definitely have a great mind, for basketball and past, present, and future.
I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Let's talk about your YouTube channel. And I had a chance to check it out. I know it's kind of giving you some practice in the media game. And, you seem to be doing well. I like your NBA draft room segments, too. And, your personality, your energy is great. Talk about that. What is your YouTube show for the fans of Alternative Facts Chicago?
My YouTube channel is Sports Talk 2319. You can subscribe to that. And on that channel, obviously 2319 it's really 2,319 points. That's how many points I scored in my college career. So I felt that was the right term, the right name to name my show. And from my YouTube show, I'm able to talk about the landscape of college basketball and giving a platform from all of college basketball, not just the main level schools and universities and players and coaches, but I like to give every college an opportunity to have a chance to be mentioned on my show, because there's so much great basketball being played in between that 6 months of the college season. And I think tons of it gets overlooked because there's not enough people covering all aspects of college basketball. So that's mainly what my show does. And then over time, it transitions to the draft, where I'm targeting prospects throughout my season on Sports Talk 2319. And I kind of transition that over and create some draft files and just keep the listener engaged and try to keep them excited for all these wonderful kids and prospects that's moving on to the next level.
That's awesome. And I like the fact that you give, all players a chance at all levels. And, in your college basketball career, UD Mercy being a smaller Division I basketball school. So how that may be, a little bit to potentially be overlooked, by the bigger schools. So
yeah,
it's great to see that you're, making the impact to give everyone a chance, not just someone from, the biggest schools in the country.
Absolutely. I think every Division I athlete, not just Division I, but Division II, Division III, NAIA, we all put in the same amount of work to get to that same destination. We all have class. We all have weightlifting. We all have coaches. We all have those social challenges as being a college athlete. And I just think that as a whole, it gets overlooked and it's only targeted when you look at the bigger schools. But what Michigan State is doing, the University of Detroit players are doing as well. They're going to class, they're lifting weights, they're watching film, they're playing games, and they're practicing as well. So again, Sports Talk 2319 gives everybody the equal opportunity to showcase their skills.
Check that out. It's got some great segments, great opinions. Make sure you check that out and tell them Alternative Facts Chicago sent you when you do. Leave a comment. So I did some research online a little bit ago, and I found a story on Twitter. Crazy with Twitter, you get a lot of information, news. I get a lot of more information from Twitter than I do the news or anywhere else. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But there was a story on there that said you've been contacted by EA Sports for a potential role with the new NBA Live 2019. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've been contacted in regards to having some type of involvement with NBA Live 19. Right now, at the time, I can't discuss
Okay.
my total role because it's kind of in talks right now with my management. But yes, that is not a rumor. That is absolutely true. I have been contacted by EA Sports to be involved in NBA Live 19 and furthermore. So in the next couple of weeks, I will be happy to share that with everybody once everything gets played out. But yes, absolutely.
We're gonna find out you're a special player in the game next season. It's gonna be Rashad Phillips.
I don't know. We'll see. That would be awesome if they can do something like that.
Hey, your jump shot better be at a 99 rating if so.
Yeah, and they better give me some range on that too.
Definitely. Speaking about a little bit about your basketball career, Kobe Bryant, the legend, and he doesn't say great things about a lot of people, but when he does,
he doesn't.
When he says something, he means it. And so how do you feel? And for those that don't know or haven't heard, Kobe Bryant made a comment one day saying that Rashad Phillips is essentially the best player that never played in the NBA. Now, does that offend you? Do you take that as a compliment? When you hear that from someone like Kobe Bryant, how do you feel when you hear that statement?
Well, me knowing Kobe Bryant personally, is for sure a compliment. Obviously this is a Hall of Famer. This is a guy that's one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. So to hear that come from him, a guy that doesn't dish out compliments regularly,
right.
To hear that from him and, competing against him in high school and so forth, that's just, it meant a lot to me to hear that from a guy like that. And it's just a testament to really Kobe Bryant's awareness of basketball players and skill levels, because he's doing this show to detail where he points out things in basketball players. So Kobe has a sharp mind, and to get that validation from him, it just speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's amazing. What do you do when you hear that comment? You just smile or what? Like, Kobe actually gave me that compliment. That's great.
Yeah, it's just, for me, it's great to hear, and I accept it and I move forward with it. And again, Kobe is arguably my most favorite player to ever play the game. So that's a compliment back to him as well. So I definitely accept it, and I love it. And he's a great person off the court. That's what a lot of people don't know about him.
Yeah, Kobe's a man. I love him. Good deal. So you're a basketball trainer too, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about this. What's your training school called, and just kind of talk about how you started and what made you want to get into it to begin with.
So what I did, I retired at age 30. I was relatively young when I retired. I still had a lot of years to play. But I just felt that, my heart wasn't fulfilled no more with just playing basketball. I felt that I had earned enough trophies. I earned enough stats. I earned enough of this and that. And it was time for me to take my God's given gift and kind of give it to somebody else and share it with someone else and watch them use that and move on. So I came back home and I started a skills academy called Skills Unlimited, where I was able to help kids all across the state of Michigan. And over time, we developed a top training program in the state of Michigan, and we have sent over 50 kids to colleges, whether it's Division 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
And for me, that has been the beauty of Skills Unlimited, is to watch kids grow, develop new relationships, and create new family members and watch them grow. Each year, I still see a crop of my kids that I had 7, 8 years ago. They go off to college each year, so it never gets old for me. And it's just been a great moment for Skills Unlimited and the family as well. But today, right now, I am the head skills trainer in IMG Academy, which is in Bradenton, Florida. A wonderful atmosphere, wonderful people. My director of operations, Bryant Nash, has done a phenomenal job of building the basketball program up and giving me and allowing me to have a platform to continue to train kids at IMG Academy and watch kids grow and move on to college and do great things.
That's amazing. And do you guys have a website, or if anyone wants to get more information, where can they find your training school?
Well, I'm at IMG Academy right now. So what you can do is you can type in IMG Academy, and trust me, it's all over the internet. It's the #1 prep school in the country.
Absolutely. You can't miss it.
No, you won't miss it.
Awesome, man. So switching gears, and you talked a lot about the NBA draft recently. You were spot on a lot of the picks and a lot of predictions of where things are going to fall. So definitely, I think your mind for basketball is great at that. It was crazy. I remember I was following you, some of your stories and some of your predictions, and they actually happened. So that's awesome to see. But in your mind, maybe one or two teams that you think had the best NBA draft this year.
When you look at it, obviously, I think Phoenix did a really good job. Obviously, they took DeAndre Ayton with the #1 pick, but what they also did that was, I thought was a steal, was they swapped the Zaire Smith for Mikal Bridges pick.
Oh wow!
And they acquired Mikal Bridges, and I just think that Mikal is a proven guy that's ready to play right away.
Yep.
I think he's the most polished guy in the draft. He was ranked #4 on my player rankings board because he's just so polished. So Phoenix getting him was a great grab. I think the Hawks did well by taking Trae Young at that 5th position, because now they've established themselves as a team that has a dynamic point guard. Now they can start building around Trae. The Spurs got a steal with grabbing Lonnie Walker late in the 1st round.
Yep.
And the Los Angeles Clippers grabbing Jerome Robinson up in the lottery. I think he's going to shock a lot of people because he's such a tremendous scorer. And believe it or not, with the 51st pick, the New Orleans Pelicans took Tony Carr out of Penn State.
Yep.
This kid had a 1st round grade from me watching him on film. So for the Pelicans to get him at 51, I think that was a real snag there.
How does that happen? Like, how does one player fall?
Yeah, well, sometimes you get different agents biting for position with their players and stuff like that, and sometimes kids just drop and they drop and they drop, and you look at the board and you see, hey, this guy is still on the board, and you snag him. That stuff, I mean, it happens, man. So, and I think Tony Carr going to the New Orleans Pelicans, I think that's going to be a great move for him, because that's a team that actually needs depth on their team. They're strong, heavy in the front 5.
Right.
But they lack bench play. They needed some help from some guys from 10-day contracts last year. But getting a guy like Tony Carr, who's a proven winner, a prototypical point guard that can defend and play both sides of the ball, I just think that was a great pick for New Orleans at 51.
In regards to Philadelphia, I was a little weird about their draft day when they get Mikal Bridges, and I thought that was amazing.
Me too.
From there, right? Or
yeah,
his mom works for the team, and great day. And 20 minutes later, he's traded. I was very, very confused by that. Do you know any inside stories? Is something behind the scenes we don't know? And I felt like Bridges is a much better fit for that team, and they just traded him. So I'm a little, I'm just confused by it, honestly. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it was confusing to everybody. I think sometimes organizations as a whole, I think sometimes you can outsmart yourself. I think you can overthink something so much that you outsmart yourself. And I think this is one of the times where Philly outsmarted themselves. You drafted the right person at number 10, and then you were offered something else for a later date. So you think you were doing something smart, but later on you'll find out that it wasn't. I think that also has shown that they have great belief in Covington because of the year he had in Philadelphia. So they didn't want to crowd Mikal and have Mikal breathing down Covington's back. Covington was 1st team all defense this year. He played well, but he didn't really play well in the playoffs, but he had a great regular season. So I just believe they were trying to show their loyalty to Covington in some regards by trading for a guy that won't breathe down his back, but they also upgraded Phoenix's lineup by giving them Mikal. And this may be something that will come back and bite them later on down the line. That's
a great win for Phoenix, though. And they got a top 4 young nucleus. And if they figure out their point guard situation, they'll be dangerous.
Absolutely. Phoenix is going to be pretty good.
Great to hear. So obviously there's only 2 rounds of the NBA drafts. When you were in college, you did not get drafted, unfortunately. So you've been in that experience. So what advice do you give to guys that didn't get drafted that may, try to get picked up on a summer league, and where do they pivot from there? What's some advice you can give?
Well, what you want to do is you want to stay positive and you want to channel that, because when you don't get drafted, the human reaction is to be angry,
Right.
and to be hurt. So what I like to tell guys when they don't call your name is to take that energy that you have and you channel that into yourself, into building something positive where you can go out and still perform, because it's never over. A lot of the best players or guys that can contribute right away are guys that don't get drafted. So it's not the end of the road. It just changes up and gives you a little bit of a detour. So you use that detour, you use it, you channel it, you do something positive, and when you get the opportunity, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 seconds, 5 minutes, you make the best of it. You give everything you can and you keep pushing forward. And usually when you do that, great things will await you, regardless if it's in the NBA, the G League, overseas. But just that mentality will help you later on in life, is continue to persevere.
That's amazing feedback. Great to hear. So future media star, you may have the insights. Tell me, where's LeBron James going?
He's going to LA.
Yeah, that's my prediction too. I'm glad you see that.
Yeah, I just think, I think for what he's trying to do generally in regards to continuing to build his empire. I won't even call it a brand. It's an empire. And he's a dad, he got sons, has a family. So he's trying to position his family now. I think it's less and less about him now than it used to be.
Right.
I think when he went to Miami, it was more for him.
Yep.
I think now going to LA is more about his family and his empire. So this is a complete business move that LeBron is making right now. I think this is 40% basketball, 60% family.
I 100% agree with you. I feel like this would be a no-brainer for him to go to LA. I mean, just, what he wants to do in movies, and this is overall presence, and LA is where you need to be. Why wouldn't he be there?
Right.
If he has the opportunity. So, okay, so say, LeBron goes there, and even if they do happen to get Paul George, possibly Leonard, can anyone beat Golden State? Is it even possible, or do they just have to implode themselves for them to lose?
I don't think right now anybody can beat Golden State. When you look at the guys that they have in place, here's a team that is they don't really have any weaknesses. They're tremendous in sharing the ball. They're very accurate. They take good shots. When you're playing against a team like that, and all three of their best players are all in their prime, so you really are just playing a waiting game. You just hope that team implodes. You hope that somebody wants to go to another team and prove themselves as an individual. You hope that the press clippings get to them, but I just don't think you can really assemble the guys in the first year to actually take down that team. They've already played together, for a while. So that continuity as well, all those factors in to the greatness that they have around, great coaches, great staff, continuity within the organization. That's just hard to take down.
Yeah, they would have to implode themselves. They're just too good. And
they're really good right now.
And the rumor is that, Jordan from the Clippers was visiting them or in talks with them. I'm like, man, if that happens, that's just they're cheating. That's not fair.
Well, once, and this is one thing, I don't want to get off subject, but I want to talk about Steph Curry. One thing about Steph Curry, I've had to diffuse the Steph Curry and Trae Young comparisons for the last 8 months.
Yep.
But this is one thing that Steph Curry and Trae Young both share, is the fact that people want to play with them.
Yep.
This is really Golden State is really the Steph Curry factor.
Mm-hmm.
The guys want to play with Steph Curry, period.
Right.
And this is what Trae Young will bring to Atlanta. People will want to play with Trae Young.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that was exactly, you've had a lot of comments about Trae Young, and he was number one on a lot of your draft boards, if I'm correct. You clearly see him as the future of the NBA, and I see him like a Steph Curry light. Obviously not good, but I mean, he's still a kid. He has a long way to go.
Right.
And I will say that, he's not going to be that great in the NBA, but, we've seen him in high school and in college. He's successful at everywhere he goes, and the kid works hard. So for people all of a sudden think that he's just not going to be good in the NBA at his current age, I think that's very far-fetched. So I agree with your notion that, he could be a great NBA point guard. Why do you think he's the future of the NBA?
Well, when you look at how the NBA is going, it's all about dynamic point guard play. And Trae has shown us that he can play the position at the highest level. I mean, he epitomizes that position. And I think it's unfair for people to write him off because all Trae has done was prove everybody wrong. To this point, high school, 40-point scorer, McDonald's All-American, college, led the nation in scoring, led the nation in assists. So going into the NBA, why would we try to dim his light when it's already shined bright? To this point, there's no chink in his armor thus far.
Right.
So why are we trying to create that for him? Let's allow him to grow into the player that that he can become and let it go from there. But to say he's not going to be a great player, to me, it doesn't make sense because what has he done so far? Be a great player.
Exactly. And I think they were factoring to the fact that his team didn't do that great the second half of the season. He kind of hit a wall, so they're thinking, he's already peaked. That's the best he can get. And, he's a smaller guy, but, I mean, playing that many games,
it's a lot, man.
Focus specifically
That's on
stop him. That is a lot when you have the ball in your hands that much.
That's tough, man. A lot of people don't really understand the dynamic of being double teamed and being number one on the scouting report every night, especially in college basketball, because there's no 3-second rule in college basketball. So guys can just stand in the lane and wait for you. It's not like the NBA. So with the rules of the NBA, it will open up the game more and allow Trae to be able to make more plays than he did in college.
Speaking of Trae, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm glad that Trae Burke is actually doing well in New York.
Me too.
Even if he stays there or not, but the fact that he's had a rebirth in his career is amazing to see because I was a huge fan of his at Michigan. He had a tough start in the NBA. So, and I know you can appreciate, a scoring point guard like that
yes.
turned it around.
Yes, I love watching Trae Burke play in college. Just a guy that just can get around guys, make big shots, tough guy, defender. And when he got to the NBA, I just think that when he got to Utah, I just think that his mentality that he didn't want to be there.
Right.
And he wore it on his sleeves. And you have to embrace your journey. And I think he understands that now. He went to the G League, got his mind back together, got back to the NBA, and now he's embracing his purpose. And now he looks exactly like the NBA point guard that we all knew that he could be.
And he looks great out there. Like he's crossing people up and shooting fadeaway 3-pointers. I'm like, where is this Trae Burke coming from? He's a totally different player, but I like it.
Yeah, he's just, the mind is the mind is a terrible thing to waste, they say. So once you get your mind in front of you and give yourself a positive outlook, the universe will start moving with those positive thoughts. And that's what Trae Burke has been able to do in New York.
Absolutely. So whether he stays there or not, I hope he has a future in the NBA. He showed he can be there. And I'm sure if he's not in New York, another team will give him a chance and he can play some big minutes next season.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Trae Burke.
Absolutely. One quick college question before we move on. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Quickly talking about Michigan State and Tom Izzo. It's pretty interesting to see the fact he has talent year after year, 5-star recruits, Miles Bridges, Jaren Jackson, still can't win a national title. What's going on at Michigan State? Like, is this Izzo's fault or what? I feel like it has so much talent over the years. I feel like they should have more national titles.
Yeah, I think Michigan State hasn't won a national title since 2000, so it's almost a 20-year drought. I don't think it's one particular person's fault. I wouldn't say it's Izzo's fault. I just think there's a combination of things where the game has changed, and sometimes coaches, they don't like to change their ways no matter what the times are. Like Coach B.Hun at Syracuse, he's still going to play zone no matter what the game is today. Coach Izzo is still going to run those half-court sets that he was running back in 98. So a lot of times the coaches are stuck in their ways, but the game has evolved. Yep. Where sometimes the way you used to play, you're going to have to adjust to the way the game is played today. And I think one coach that has done a good job of doing that is Coach K. Yep. He has changed the way that he's recruiting. He's evolved to the point where he gets certain players to fit the way the game is played today. And I think once Coach Izzo kind of bends a little bit, I think that Michigan State will be right where they need to be.
I agree, but I feel like he's never going to let up on what he wants to do. And unfortunately, I feel like he's hurt some careers of players, like a Keith Appling, for example. Just like not just let him, here, take the ball, go. Like you be great. I feel like he tones a lot of their players down to where I went to UAD Jesuit, and I love Winston. That's my guy.
Yep.
Amazing point guard. But I almost feel like little red flags. Like he's not the same player that I remember him to be. Like is he going to do it to him too, or what? Do you see that or
There's a lot of truth to what you just said, but you have to also give some of that responsibility to the kid that signs to go to Michigan State.
Right.
Because if that's what you see is going on, then you have to understand when you sign up to go to Michigan State, it's going to go this way.
Yep.
So Cassius Winston is, he was a kind of a freestyle player in high school. I watched him in high school. And once he got to Michigan State, he's more of a half court point guard. And statistically, he had a great year. He was like top 5 in the country in 3-point percentage. Mm-hmm. He was top 10 in the country in assists.
Right.
So he played relatively well, but there's more inside of Cassius Winston. And it seems like we're not getting all of it.
Yeah. I feel like there's just something missing that I saw in high school that I don't see right now.
His independence. That's what's missing.
Yep. And I feel like if Tom Izzo just gives him the keys of the team next season, they can win with him running the show.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'll be excited to see that. So we'll talk more about that later. So last night in Chicago, I was actually at the Big 3 basketball game. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun. And I was thinking, have you been to a Big 3 basketball game at all? Have you seen them?
No, I don't really watch that.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like they brought out a lot of NBA players, Steven Jackson, Mark Stoudemire. I was thinking you need to be out there. You can give a lot of those guys buckets still.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, I would love to get up and down with those guys anytime I can get an opportunity to play basketball, especially against high caliber guys. I'm always up for it. So maybe one day they'll let me in, and we'll see what we can do about that.
A couple look washed. I won't name names right now, but there's a couple did look a little washed. Still out there getting after it though.
Yeah, man, take my hats off to those guys to be able to still get up there and play on that stage at the age that we're at today, and still compete.
Absolutely, it was a great time. So you've had a monumental storied career. Coming up, you at the Mercy, the all-time leading scorer. Do you miss those days? I know people maybe ask you that all the
time. I won't say I miss those days. I just that was a great chapter in my life. I look at life as chapters in a book, and that was just a wonderful chapter where we were able as a team to captivate the city and the country by our style of play. I had some tremendous teammates. We had tremendous fans, our student body, coaches. So everybody were one heartbeat. We stood for the right reasons, and we were able to collectively do some great things together. And I was just happy that my teammates allowed me to use my extra talent and skill to be able to showcase on that platform to share with everyone else.
That's great to hear. And you've had a storied career. You had a great story just throughout your entire life, man.
Yeah.
Going to get a biography, a book, or what? People got to hear the story.
Yeah, we're in talks with that as well. So hopefully one day, you guys, will be hearing my story, because I think it needs to be told, not just from an athletic standpoint. That I just believe that kids in general and people overall need to understand that there's something inside of all of us that we can dig down and grab and create a positive change and a positive momentum shift in your life. But sometimes we get stuck and don't know how to go inside and grab that. And I believe my story will help people who has that greatness inside of them, but they can't grab it out. But I believe that my story will definitely nurture and help that person do that. Because for me, I just love to see people live out their dreams, be successful, and be happy.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. And if you affect one person positively, then you did your job.
Absolutely.
So in the next 2 to 3 years, we do got to get you up out of here in a couple minutes. But, in the next couple of years, where do you see the brand of Rashad Phillips taking you? What do you got in store for us?
I think that you aim for the stars, you land on the moon. So right now I'm truly blessed to be in the position that I am today, and hopefully I'll just continue to move forward, and you'll see me doing something where I'm also helping someone. So anytime that I'm helping somebody, I feel like that my life is serving its purpose. So in the next 2 or 3 years, you'll see me helping somebody in a positive way.
Well, it's been great having you on the show. We really appreciate it. Midwest connection. Like I said, me being from Detroit,
Yeah.
as well as yourself, I really appreciate you coming on the show. That was a great discussion. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Brian. It meant a lot.
I really appreciate that. So take a moment, plug your social media, YouTube show. Where can the fans of Alternative Facts Chicago find you?
Well, you can find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Sports Talk 2319. You can subscribe there. My Twitter is RP3 Natural, and my Instagram is Rashad Phillips RP3.
Well, once again, we appreciate you coming on the show. That was great. We'll definitely be on the lookout for you and be able to do some work with you here, in the future. We definitely would love that.
Well, we'll stay in touch for sure, and you continue to strive for the greatness that you're doing as well. It was an honor to be on your show.
We really appreciate that. So, fans, that was great. This is going to be the episode for the 4th of July week. B-Chan and myself will be back after the 4th of July with a brand new episode. It's going to be a lot to talk about. So make sure you enjoy the time with your family, friends. Be safe, of course. And remember, we are the #1 podcast in Chicago. And we really, really appreciate you following us throughout this journey. And remember, this is only the beginning. We have a lot more to come. So you can always find us on Wild Dogs Radio. They air this episode every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And our platform is on 247liveculture.com. And remember, we are on Spotify now, so you can search Alternative Facts Chicago right next to your favorite rapper. You can find our podcast, listen each and every week. So it's huge that we finally got on that platform as well, too. So this is B.Hun, Alternative Facts Chicago. This is Rashad Phillips here. Once again, we really thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You guys have a great one. Happy 4th of July, and we will talk to you guys soon. Peace.